everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to part 4 of my Zoomin with the Fam series. So today we are going to talk to my dad, who is Papa for my daughter, and he is just one of my favorite people on this planet. He reads very, very differently than my mother or sister or grandmother or I. He is into quite a few different things, so this video will be a little bit different than the 3 you have seen before, but let's just go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so today we are here with my dad, and he is a reader, but he is different in his style than my mom or sister or I are. So Dad, what would you say is your favorite type of book to read?
I'm interested in understanding the world we live in and what life means. And so for me, it's been a journey of searching for what I call my personal truth. And that happened, goodness, maybe about 12 to 15 years ago, plus or minus, in
Okay.
terms of that journey of where I was at in life, which maybe relatively speaking with the age that I am today, might be the latter, phases of my life. But it's been, on the other hand, one of the best journeys for me personally. So
That would
uh,
have been about the time you became an empty nester. Because I
yeah,
think I graduated high school
yeah.
12 and a half years ago.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Maybe,
Yeah, I think that's a little ironic.
yeah, your graduation and
Yeah,
mine
it's
as
like kids
well.
are gone, finally get to do something for yourself. But makes sense.
Yeah, but it goes so fast.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's frightening fast when you're at the stage of your life where I'm at. Is um, the days just seem to fly by
Yeah.
more than they did the earlier part of our lives. But just like you, younger part of my life, I was so focused on wanting to achieve some personal goals that it really became too much focused energy on that versus just living.
Would you say you've always been a reader, or it's really just started the past 12-ish years?
Well, um, been a reader since kindergarten.
Yeah. Did you read any books as a kid? Like, do you have any books that pop out as like ones you remember from childhood or from when you were young?
Oh gosh. Um, I remember reading, uh, gosh, what was the detective? Um, I can't remember, but there was a series of books that were written for, um, elementary school
Uh-huh.
age, and the detective, Dick Tracy, you know, kind of thing was interesting because it was wanting to, I guess, in a way, uncover the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess same thing, just different form.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm trying to think for the rest of your life, like when you were a young adult and even when we were little, you didn't really read at all, did you?
No, most of the reading that I did in that phase of my life was focused on
Business.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and what I was working on in terms of my field of real estate. So it became one in which I wanted to gain as much knowledge uh, as I could
Yeah.
from that. So I have a small library up there, and those books are really kind of in my office.
Yeah.
Probably not more than maybe a dozen or so.
Do you ever unhaul books or get rid of them?
Um, a few, not many.
Very rarely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know that I've ever seen you do that. Do you track your reading anywhere? I guess you just kind of have the books that you've read, but do you keep track anywhere of books you've read or anything, or books you want or anything like that? Do you have a wish list?
The list comes periodically, and it's stimulated by just becoming aware.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also, comes from your mother and you,
Yeah.
in terms of of book choices. So I really appreciate being able to be guided and have that door open for me to
Yeah.
another
Because
gift.
I bought you, what's that book called? I'm trying to see if I can see it on my shelves, but the book about introverts, and like those kind of things are kind of interesting to be able to talk and share about. But because the majority of what you read is more spiritual or religious, is that correct?
Yeah, self-discovery.
Yeah.
Uh, and in really examining life on Earth, as to what it is. So
Yeah.
I find that really interesting.
So you like reading more about like the meaning of life as opposed to personal self-help, or I guess I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to ask, but um, bigger picture than just individual self-help.
Yeah, it stems from knowing that there's this um, inspiring divine wisdom that's created this universe that we live in, because in terms of what I've read and uncovered, at least for me, is that this divine power is all within and through the universe that we live in. And so to me, I find it very, very interesting that there's this mindset that was able to create what we are experiencing in life, and how do we process that and understand it.
Um, are there any books right now that you have on your wish list? Father's Day and your birthday. I'm a double whammy for Mother's Day. Mother's Day and my birthday are really close. His Father's Day and his birthday. So this is kind of a selfish question.
It's, I don't have any right now. I've got two new books that I asked your mother to get me, and they're sitting also on my lower nightstand. And I really look forward to finding the time to get into those. And I think you're aware that when we're able to leave our lives here in our work and families, that when your mom and I take off and go away to the Caribbean for, 3 to 6 weeks, just depending, those are the true times that I'm able to really take along in my suitcase,
Yeah.
books
Yep.
that I want to really get into and have some real quality time in
Yeah.
reading. Um, so not presently, but I guess since you've kind of asked for a little enlightenment,
Yeah. You've got a month
birthday,
to get
I'll
something.
yeah, I'll give that some thought. Just like what I did here today with looking at these stacks of books. It's fun to look at, um, the materials and books that I've read, even though it's pretty focused, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. Like walk us through your day. When do you do the majority of your reading?
Um, During my day that I live here in my work life, it starts early in the morning with getting up and reading out of a select group of books that I find inspiring, and really setting my mind and focus on who I am and how I want to enter the day. So um, it's a practice. I have probably um, 6 or 7, 8 different books that I read from in terms of somewhat would become maybe daily devotionals. And so I'm able to center myself very early in the day as to how I intend to move forward.
So do you read those 8 or whatever over and over? And
Yes.
you kind of just jump in and out wherever you want to?
Yeah, exactly. They're um, pieces that are. You gave me one of the books, in fact, Jesus Calling,
Mm-hmm.
that I read from daily, in terms of having a daily spiritual message with regards to that. It's one I truly love,
Good.
and there are others too, coming from different perspectives. Um, so anyway, yes, that's how I get
So
started.
what are your current 8, or what are some of them? Like who are your favorite authors? Give me some specifics.
Yeah, it was um, obviously when you asked me if I would be willing to spend some time with you to share this conversation. It's one in which I thought, oh gosh, I need to go through my library, to really pull out the top 10.
Yeah. So what'd you find? Or did you
uh,
do it?
I've got about 2 dozen that are
Yeah. It's hard
sitting
to
in,
pick.
it is sitting in front of me. You don't see it, but
Yeah.
I'm sitting at our family room dining table, and I've got 6 different stacks of books that,
Ah,
that I've sorted out. So,
yeah.
um, you know, the 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 daily readings, for example, that I'm reading, the Jesus Calling, Sarah Young,
Hmm.
Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, um, you know, Alan Cohen, A Deep Breath of Life, um, Outrageous Openness, Tasha Silver, um, Living the Wisdom of the Tao by Wayne Dyer. So those are ones that I read daily.
Yeah. Do
So
you have read some Malcolm Gladwell, haven't you?
yes,
That-
because I've got you've given me, I think, some of his books as well. But those are the kinds of books that I truly enjoy when I'm traveling and
Oh, okay.
sitting on an airplane, to
Yeah.
be able to take a book like that and read it.
Because
Uh,
they're more like cover to cover reading, not
yeah,
devotional reading.
exactly.
That makes
And
sense.
I truly enjoy reading those and rereading
So do you ever read fiction?
them.
No? Is that what you said?
No,
Yeah. Do
life
you
is 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 all by our own perception, which
uh-huh.
obviously is, where's the truth in that? And so you really have to dig down and understand what truth is. So
And you always read like with a notebook by you, don't you?
um, I take notes in what I read. Yes,
Yeah.
um,
Like you always annotate everything you read pretty much.
I do. Um, I've got a couple of notebooks, and it's a way that I process what I've read and what I think, because they go somewhat hand in hand, in able to verbalize and express myself.
Yeah.
Um,
So
as well.
then do you go back and read your notebooks, or what do you
Oh
do
yeah,
with them?
oh
Yeah.
yeah. I have them on my nightstand, and I pull them out um, periodically, just in terms of wanting to refresh myself, or if I have um, a thought that I need to re-examine, I go back in and read my notes. And so it's an interesting um, process for me.
Yeah. But it is interesting, especially because I do a little bit of that, but not a lot. I don't think mom does any. I don't think grandma does any. Like, so everybody I've talked to so far, your style is very different. You do like some C.S. Lewis, don't you?
Yes, and
Yeah.
you've opened um, that door, with regards to his readings.
I don't know what you would call that. I mean, most of his is nonfiction, but there's some fiction that's, I don't know what you would call that genre, but that kind of genre you are into somewhat, right?
Yeah, it's to me, it's storytelling to a certain extent, and so their stories, whether they are real in terms of what we describe as real life stories, or whether they're on this imaginary journey with expressing a message in a story.
Any other bookish thoughts or observations?
No, but it's one in which I've really been enjoying your video blogging, if that's the right terminology. I don't know. You
Yeah.
know, because it's one in which, um, from me now, I'm a father, very proud of you.
Oh,
I'm,
well, thank you.
I'm getting choked up, when I think about you and the inspiration that you are able to gain and share from your readings and in your personal writings. I mean, even though you just said a little while ago, you don't do a lot of that. My goodness, the writings that you do are so authentic and flowing,
Well,
with
thank
the
you.
message that is like storytelling. I mean, when I go back and read some of those writings when your mom was in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
so powerful. I mean, you can tell I'm choked up, talking about it. So,
What he's talking about is my mom was diagnosed with cancer shortly after I got married. And so my mom and dad and I went to MD Anderson and spent 8 weeks or so down there while she was getting treatment. And I wrote update letters to all of our friends and family and that kind of stuff. So we could keep everybody in the loop and hopefully put a little bit of a positive spin on a less than positive situation, which
yeah,
has ended wonderfully. She has been cancer free for what, 3 years?
yeah, going on 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, very inspiring
Yeah.
messages. So, anyway, just in terms of that, I just obviously very proud of you and really encourage you to follow that passion that is within you and just flowing so well.
Well, thank you. How have you been dealing with quarantine? Does it bother your little introverted self?
Um, it's been it's been different because it's been for me having to spend a lot of time and energy, on the business side of trying to stabilize uh,
Yeah.
its impact um, and working with many of our um, um,
Tenants.
tenant, patrons, clients, customers, however you want to call them, because they're people, they're human, and they are dealing with the struggle just as each of us are, and so it's one in which working together with them and trying to help them help us.
Yeah. It's a rough time.
Yeah, so
This
it's been a
Zoom
lot of
style is very weird. Like it's very weird to have to Zoom with you guys, but hopefully we're on the upswing. I don't know.
yeah. We just to give you a little, just kind of, it's been 2 months since we came back from our Caribbean trip, and it hit us just right upon our return.
Yeah.
And yesterday, Saturday, was the first day that I've taken to myself of spending it outdoors. I mean, and I spent the entire day, and you know how I like to do that.
Yeah. Getting a
So
dump.
yeah, for me, yesterday um, was fulfilling to be able to experience that,
Good.
even though it was mostly myself working outside.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're very introverted, wouldn't you say? I mean,
That's my twin.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, your life hasn't changed a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. All right. Well, I love you.
Love you too. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
I'm
Okay.
ready.
Mhm.
So
Fun. 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 Good luck with that.
I want you to be able to enjoy your day here on Mother's Day.
I feel like Mother's Day, like I should be hanging out with my kid all day, but
You do that every day.
yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of my
That's
life.
why it's your day. So
Yeah, she's a hoot.
oh, absolutely. What a joy.